Okay, so it's just getting ready. Okay. Okay, you're live. Go ahead and step on in. Good morning, folks. It's good to be with you. We're getting the last minute touches going here. All right, good day. So welcome to, oh. Give it a second, they're coming in now. Sure. I guess that would be important. Now you still have people in on the website, so maybe chat with them just a second. Okay. Oh, okay. All right, folks, we're all gathering. Good to see you. It's a blessing to be with you on this beautiful Monday morning. For those of you that are here in the valley, Coachella Valley, it's nice to have a little bit of a reprieve, and from a temperature standpoint, this is my first go around with getting into summer here. So that last week or so was a nice little experiment. I know there's more of that to come, but I'm grateful for the 10 to 15 degree drop in temperature here now. So this morning, I am going to review some ideas that I covered in the spiritual economics class, and also marry them or couple them, maybe not married, couple them with some ideas from the book, This Thing Called You by Ernest Holmes. Grateful to be supported this morning by Jeff Harrison in the Swing Point Media Producers booth. He's the man. We're always grateful for him. And I'm just going to slide over here. I'll be right back. Just one second. I'm back. All right. Logistical item there to cover. So so as we move through this morning, we're going to be looking at This Thing Called You, but also, again, coupled with some ideas from spiritual economics and how we can be supported. There's a practical idea from Eric Butterworth, coupled with an idea in consciousness, a spiritual practice, a prayer really from Ernest Holmes. And so I've got 8 slides prepared that we're going to move through. I'm inviting you to participate with me. If you're watching through the website, you can type comments or questions in the website there, and I can respond to you. If you go to the website and you click on, there's an area of our website, cslpalmdesert.org, that says please read, and then there's a paragraph there. If you want to go click on that, you can actually then be sent over to Zoom, where you can interact audibly as well as through typing in questions and things. So I think that's all of the logistical stuff for right now. So let's get into it. And at any point, if anybody has a question, pop in, write it in. I know Jeff's going to support with letting me know what's happening. And so let's begin with a prayer, and then we'll take it from there. Just a moment to bring ourselves into this moment, and a prayer of gratitude to welcome in our virtual gathering this morning as a community. That we know as we're gathering virtually, we're always connected and in community in our hearts. And I'm grateful for that. So as a community, wherever we are this morning, I know that we are blessed. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to be together. And my prayer always is that somehow, somebody in some way is blessed by the material that we cover this morning and has a new insight about life, a fresh take on it, is lifted in some way, inspired. So for the time that we shared together, I am grateful. I call it good. And so it is. Amen. Okay, so let's get into it. So here you'll see at the top of every slide is a principle from spiritual economics. So this is going to be a review for some. If not, hey, we can always, this is good truth. We can always keep bringing it in more and more and practicing. At the bottom is a prayer to help support this idea. From Ernest Holmes out of the book, This Thing Called You, which if you don't have, I strongly encourage you to get it and read it. It's just like it's like a cup of hot chocolate. It's like a warm bath. It's like a hole-in-one. Oh, I've never had a hole-in-one. Jeff's had 9. I've yet to have one. So I imagine it's like a hole-in-one. That's golf for folks that don't know. I get busy, doing the sports references, and sometimes, like Dr. Joe says, pew. Okay, so Admit to yourself, my present experience reflects my present level. Oh, one more thing. The slides are going to be available through the website. So you can, I think they're available in the chat on Zoom and also through the website. So I actually encourage you to download the slides and practice these prayers and these ideas that can set us free. Okay, here we go. Admit to yourself, Eric Butterworth says, my present experience reflects my present level of consciousness. Since cause is in me, a cure can be affected by altering the cause. So what does that mean? That means that we are experiencing life based on our current paradigm, that we're experiencing life based on our current mindset, based on our current belief system. And so that means we're responsible for the life that we're experiencing, COVID or not, pre-COVID, post-COVID, present COVID, whatever's happening financially, in your relationships, with the health of your body temple. Now, for some of us, we might hear this and say, have different reaction to it. Anywhere from on the spectrum from victimhood, I'm a victim in my life, to I've got full responsibility for my life. And I'm excited about the proposition that my present level of experience reflects my present level of consciousness. And that since cause is in me, a cure can be affected by altering the cause. So ask yourself in the moment, where might you be ailing right now? Where are you challenged? Where are you struggling? Where might you be suffering? Where are you a victim? Where are you particularly challenged in your life? Knowing that since you can have caused that you can cause something new, that you can uncause what you've caused and cause anew. And that's freedom, folks. So we can take an inventory and stock of right where we are in life right now and see, okay, this is what's working and beautiful. This isn't. And I can change. What's the only constant in life? Change. It's been said for so many years. A supporting prayer from Ernest Holmes and the consciousness work that can support this idea. My mind, these are the words of Ernest Holmes, and it's found in this thing called You. These beautiful prayers are littered throughout the book. They're everywhere. My mind is open to new ideas. The spirit is ever active in me. The divine mind is inexhaustible. There is no weary or monotonous action in spirit. It is forever new and vibrant, fresh with ideas. I know that I am continuously receiving new impressions from life, new, better, and fuller ways of living. I let newness, freshness, and originality of spirit permeate my entire consciousness. So when we welcome that prayer in, we can see that the very first line, my mind is open to new ideas. Where are you ready to welcome some freshness into your life, into this thing called you, a fresh idea, a new insight? This is a beautiful prayer for that. I'll say it one more time. My mind is open to new ideas. The spirit is ever active in me. The divine mind is inexhaustible. There is no weary or monotonous action in spirit. It is forever new and vibrant and fresh with ideas. I know that I'm continuously receiving new impressions from life, new, better, and fuller ways of living. I let newness, freshness, and originality of spirit permeate my entire consciousness. And so it is. Moving on to the next idea. In any endeavor, there must be a possibility of success, what we call success and failure. Now, we all have ideas of success and failure, what success might be, what failure might look like. Stability and perspective to deal with both in spiritual poise is the goal. Missing the mark is one of the ways we learn to hit the target. It's practice. In any endeavor that we're up to, school, business, work, there must be a possibility of success and failure. Relationship, stability and perspective to deal with both in spiritual poise And that means balance. It means a proper perspective that God is all there is. That just because something might fail doesn't mean the Spirit wasn't present there. And just because it's success doesn't mean there's even more God there. It's simply life being itself, and success and failure are very much our personal definitions that we place on something. Missing the mark is simply one of the ways we learn to hit the target. What do we say all the time? What do? We participate in spiritual practice. Spiritual practice. That is, there is no destination in the spiritual realm that we're ever going to get to. In an infinite thing, an infinite happening, an infinite cosmos, a universe, there's no beginning and no end. There's an infinite. So there's simply where we are while we're there. And so as we're practicing, and there's no human being alive that's got it figured out. So it's human practice. It's human practice as much as spiritual practice. We're working on practicing being ourselves. Where do we want to put our attention? Where do we want to put our intention for our spiritual growth and development? Sometimes we will miss the mark. Sometimes we won't be as kind as we want to be. Sometimes as a parent, I'm not the best dad that I want to be. I don't meet up to the image that I have of it. So what do? I practice and apply, and next time, do better. So here's a prayer that supports this idea. The mind within me, being God's mind, which is the only thing it could be, because it's the only thing we could be made out of as spiritual substance. The mind within me, being God, is not afraid of anything. It does not remember any unhappy experience, nor does it anticipate any. At the center of my being, there is complete poise, perfect faith, and confidence. I am forever one with Spirit, in it and of it. I am an individualization of pure Spirit. There is no condemnation, no judgment, no sense of sin, sinner, mistake, punishment, burden, doubt, or fear in me. No bitterness, no hate, no strife. That's a powerful statement, that last line there. I'm going to read it one more time. In me, there is no condemnation, no judgment. Now, we're talking about the spiritual realm here, folks. You understand? We're talking about the mind within me being God's mind. It's not afraid of anything. There is no condemnation, no judgment, no sense of sin, sinner, mistake, punishment, burden, doubt, or fear in me. No bitterness, no hate, and no strife. So whatever endeavor we're up to right now, folks, whatever we're up to, I invite you to consider any endeavor that we're up to, that last line there. If you go upload these slides, use this as a mantra, a statement of intention, a statement of belief. There is no inside of me, and this is toward ourselves, folks. This is directed here. This is a spiritual practice here at home, not to be applied to anybody else, but to apply to our own consciousness. There is no condemnation of self, no judgment of self, no sense of sin. And I can't be a sinner. No mistakes. There's a song by Ricky Byers-Beck with It All Fades into God. And then there's a line in there that says, no mistakes have been made in God. No mistakes have ever been made. Your life isn't a mistake. My life isn't a mistake. And even what we call a failure isn't a mistake. It's simply part of the adventure. No sinner, no mistake, no punishment, no burden, doubt or fear in me. No bitterness, no hate, and no strife. Let's take a moment and pause after that slide there and see if there are any questions or if anybody wants to weigh in. Anybody? No? Okay, let's keep moving along. Okay, slide 3 out of 10. Excuse me, 3 out of 8. Hardship or challenge and the self-pity and bitterness that can accompany them. can become an obsession that blocks the reinfusion of the substance of flow. Hardship or challenge, when we face those, and we do, folks, don't we know? I mean, if anybody's participated with Michael Bogar in that soul making process, part of the soul making process is hardship or challenge. Sometimes it happens, right? And part of being in spiritual practice doesn't mean hardship and challenge won't happen. But going back to that previous slide, it means we meet them with poise, with a spiritual poise. So hardship and challenge and the self-pity and bitterness that can accompany them, that could accompany them, can become an obsession that blocks the reinfusion of the substance of flow. The flow of substance is another way of saying that. And that is the flow of the spirit of divine idea of insight. So, which has been particularly important during these times as we've had to reinvent the way we do things, reinvent the way we do business, reinvent the way we generate income. If we're so caught up in self-pity and bitterness that COVID has come along, we've moved into victim mode and we've blocked the flow, the life force, the energy, the possibility of divine idea and fresh insight to move through us, which is why we want to buoy ourselves with these prayers that Ernest Holmes is presenting for us today. Somewhere, so here's the antidote to that previous statement. Somewhere there is a need for your unique contribution. So if you're caught up, if I'm caught up, and believe me, plenty of times have I been caught up in self-pity and bitterness. It actually took up too big a chunk of my life for too long. Things weren't going my way, challenge after challenge. And then it's kind of this spiraling hole, down the rabbit hole of self-pity and bitterness that can accompany, that can become an obsession. The antidote is to know that somewhere, again, no mistake, building on the last slide, your life and your expression is not a mistake. So somewhere there must be a need for your unique contribution. Are you contributing it today? And here's the prayer that supports that. Doubt has no place in me. There is nothing in me that can entertain thoughts of negation or doubt. And doubt is a silent killer, folks. It can be just the subtlest voice when an idea does come in. And a couple things could happen. One is, oh, that's the stupidest idea I've ever heard inside my head. No one's going to buy that. No one's going to like that. Or, oh, this is lovely, wonderful. Let's roll. Let's go. I'm pumped. I've got enthusiasm. There's nothing in me that can entertain thoughts of negation or doubt. I refuse to admit them. I'm the gatekeeper of my mind. I know that my word, this word, casts out fear and doubt. It converts fear into faith. I know there is nothing in the universe. I know there is nothing in the universe that wishes me ill. There are no negative forces operating in, around, or through me. There is but one mind, which is my mind. The true mind, notice the capital M, mind, that is the mind of God. This true mind within me has never received an image of doubt. The God mind within me entertains only that which is perfect. Isn't that a beautiful prayer? Isn't that, and it's life-giving? It's a fountain of ever. What is it in the movie Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade? They drink from the Holy Grail. This is like drinking from the Holy Grail, folks. If we receive, if we allow these words to become a truth, we metabolize them. In another class, we talked about metabolizing. You know that when we bring in spiritual truth, it knows just by its inherent wisdom where to go inside of our spiritual body to lift us. Whereas food, when we eat a steak or a piece of tofu or whatever your thing is, the body knows what to do with it when you bring it in. It knows where to put it. Was there a question there, Jeff? Nope. Okay.
Eisenhower, MD.
Pardon, say it again.
Marie Phillips.
Oh, Marie's got a phone. All right. You might want to mute yourself, Marie, or we're all going to hear you. All right. Okay, here we go. That could be fun, though.
Okay.
What's Marie talking about? Okay, here we go.
413.
How can we keep the vision that we live in an orderly universe. How can we keep the vision that we live in an orderly universe when we are able to say, again, this is from Spiritual Economics, Eric Butterworth, when we are able to say, I accept the reality of the situation, but not its permanence. It came to pass. Not that it came to be permanently, but it came to pass. And if you want the reference from all this good stuff from Eric Butterworth, it's in the chapter entitled How to Reverse Financial Adversity. How to reverse financial adversity. I'm not sure the number of the chapter, but anyway, there's 12 chapters in the book and how to reverse financial adversity. So if we're having a challenge in this moment, if we're able to say, I accept the reality of the situation as it is right now, but not its permanence. He talked about it came to pass, not that it came to be permanently. It came to come through. It came for a season. You know, there's a, what is the script? I think that comes from scripture. It came for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. The one thing that's for sure that came for a lifetime is you. This thing called you. Everything else is a proposition that may or, may not. Most things are a season or a reason. A lifetime is you. Not much else. Mom, dad, maybe, even that doesn't happen very often. I accept the reality of the situation, but not its permanent. It came to pass. What in your life, again, I'll ask the question, are you struggling in any particular place? Are you challenged anywhere? Not just money, but in a relationship and something that's happening at home, in a health challenge. That it doesn't need to be permanent. Everything's about relationship and what kind of relationship we get into with things. I do this with people and it bugs them when they say, refer to my cold or my cancer, or, whenever you stake ownership of something, whenever you claim something, you claim it. You take ownership of it. My anything attaches you to it. And I always encourage, and this was something at home with Julia all the time. When she say my cold or my this, I'd say my, and I got to a point where I was just a pebble in her shoe. All I'd have to say is my, and she go, I mean, the cold, the whatever, the challenge. And that was our thing. And she'd do it back to me, of course, because if you're going to dish it out, you better take it. So if I was not being mindful about what I'm attaching myself to, my financial challenge, my bankruptcy, my whatever it is, attach yourself to that which is life-giving, my perfect health, my joy. So much of it just came to pass, but we attach ourselves to it and it creates some identification with permanence. But this isn't, so little is permanent. Life is permanent. Everything else came to pass. Here's a prayer that supports this idea. I am not concerned about what happened yesterday. I know that today everything is made new. I let go of all sense of limitation. I divorce my thought from any belief in lack. I repudiate the idea that I am poor, weak, sick, or unhappy. New conditions are being created for me, conditions of harmony, happiness, peace, and joy. All circumstances and situations are being harmonized. Just that word is evocative, harmonized. Wherever I go, I shall meet peace, joy, and happiness. Whatever I do shall be done with reason and intelligence. I shall be surrounded by friendship, by beauty, by right action. My whole being responds to this conviction. Simply, with complete conviction, I accept my freedom. Freedom's always been my word. It's been my word for as long as I can remember, freedom. And what is it to live a truly free life? Free in mind, free to move, free to love, free to be. Simply, with complete conviction, I accept my freedom. That's your birthright. Wherever two, that's four, wherever two are gathered, In an interaction of minds, a very real energy force is projected into the world. Wherever two or more are gathered in together in an interaction of minds, a very real energy force is projected into the world. So we're now bringing the foundation, the fundamental idea of getting our own mind right, supported by these prayers. And then now we're taking it and looking at how can we, with the people that in our lives, come to agreement with what's true, with what's really so, that we are free, that prosperity does still abound, that the economy is a psychological phenomenon, not something that's happening to us, but happening as us. And to get together in our micro economies with your spouse, partner, with your children, with your parents, with friends, virtually, get a Zoom call together and just call it claiming our good, call it praising our good. This is a very real energy. It says biblically even too, whenever two or more are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst of thee, saith the Lord. Creates a real energy force, something that creates. We come into agreement on behalf of a life-giving idea, and it has force and power. A prayer to support this idea. I know there is an inner presence in everything. I know that this presence responds to me. I know that everyone is an incarnation of God, that the living spirit breathes through all. I recognize this spirit and it responds to me. I realize that everything is alive, awake, and aware with spirit. I commune with this divine presence. The spirit within me reaches out and communes with the spirit in everything and everyone I contact. It is the same spirit in all, over all, and through all. I want to take a moment for just a small commercial break here. All of the material that we look at and cover, I'm not here just for entertainment. I guess that's what I want to say. I mean, and I know part of ministry is to entertain to some degree. You know, you want to hold people's attention. And part of being in the front of any room is to hold people's attention. But what I'm most interested in is that somehow we bring this information inside of us, that we actually work to embody it, that it isn't merely entertainment, but that it's fodder for our spiritual growth and development and becoming. So I implore you, I beg you as your minister, work this stuff, pray these prayers with conviction and with earnestness and with love and with joy. Bring your whole self to it. All right, end of commercial. Back to regularly scheduled programming. Okay, so the analogy of the pebble on the beach. So there's a story in Spiritual Economics where Eric Burdoward talks about walking down the beach, beautiful day, say water, and there's mountains. Let's say I can picture it in my mind coming from Seattle. There's the Cascades on one side of the city and the Olympics on the other side. And depending on which way you look, there's a park called Lincoln Park in West Seattle, right where I grew up. We'd go there and play and walk all the time. And there's the body of water, the Puget Sound, and then behind it are the Olympics. And it's magnificent. On a clear day, there's snow on top of them. You know, like here in the valley when we can see snow up there and it's sunny down here, and it's just, I'm in awe of it. So let's say I'm walking on that beautiful beach there at Lincoln Park, where there's driftwood and trees everywhere, big old Douglas firs, and the mountains off in the distance, maybe, I don't know, 80, 90 miles as the crow flies. And I'm walking down the beach and I see a rock and I pick it up and I look at this rock and I hold it out here and I just examine it and its beauty and whatever I see it, crevices and nooks and crannies, and maybe there's some sparkles about it and stuff. And I hold it out here at proper perspective so I can study it. Sometimes what we do is bring that rock, metaphorically, of course, way too close. And we want to inspect it so intensely that we bring it right up here, right to our, which eye am I using? There we go. Right to your eyeball. See, not only can you not see the rock anymore, but you can't see the beauty. Not only can I not, if I pick something up, an issue, if I get into relationship with something and bring it so close to me that I can't even see the issue anymore, let alone the rest of life, I am in trouble. So Butterworth talks about bringing that rock up here and studying it. And you get so close to the issue that at hand, issue good or bad, whatever it is, that you can't even see it anymore. And you don't have any proper perspective anymore. But as soon as you get into right relationship with what's happening in your life, as soon as you get into right relationship with a challenge, a hardship, an issue, a relationship, your financial condition, anything. I mean, I've heard plenty of stories where people are so challenged by their finances right now that it becomes their world. And so what? They're blinded by it. Like they bring the issue so close to their mind, so close to their eyes that we can't even see the issue anymore, let alone solution. So we want to be in a proper relationship with these things, have proper perspective, keep things at keep things at arm's length so we can properly study them. What is this financial challenge right now? What really is the financial challenge right now? Is it just that I'm late on 2 bills? Or is it these 2 bills have turned into, oh my God, I got to file bankruptcy? When it's just 2 bills that I'm late on, and you can call the creditors and make arrangements. You know, things can be done when we're in proper relationship with things. In a relationship with the health of our body, is there a health challenge happening right now? Whatever the challenge, the issue is at hand, we want to keep it at arm's length so that we can study it in a proper perspective. If we get too close, it consumes everything. We want to keep it here. So not only can I study this rock, but then what can I also see? The mountains, the water, the big Doug firs, the glistening of the sun off of the water. Can't see that when I've got my issue and problem right here. I can hold it out here. I can see all of it. And then the inspiration from the mountains and the water, et cetera, comes. An answer reveals itself. We become inspired by the beauty of God. Okay, moving on. Here's a prayer to support this idea. So then what you can do is take that rock that you've been looking at, drop it down, and then it becomes part of your path, part of your moving forward, part of your continuing on. The spirit within me knows the answer to any problem which confronts me. I now turn from the problem to the spirit, accepting the answer. Another way it's said, I think it's Michael Beckwith. I don't bring big problems to God. I bring a big God to my problems. Powerful distinction there. I turn from any thought of confusion to a consciousness of peace. I know that the Spirit of God is within me and the law of God is around me. I know that the answer, think of the problem not as a problem, but merely as a question, is here and now. I know that the answer is here and now. It is within my own mind because God is right where I am. In calm confidence, in perfect trust, in abiding faith, and with complete peace, I let go of the problem as a problem. I receive the answer as fulfillment. Amen. Whoop, whoop. All right, here we go. Again, I want to remind you that all these prayers in italics are in the book, This Thing Called You. They're just all throughout. They're in there. Okay. Just the last slide, or do we have one? Oh, no, 2 more. Here we go. Get busy purling. So there's this other, another story, or analogy he talks about in the book, is the idea of an oyster and the process that an oyster goes through. And again, this might be a review for some who did spiritual economics. If not, it's a beautiful way of looking at things. So an oyster, sometimes sand finds its way inside the oyster shell, inside the shell to where the meat is. Sand gets in there. And momentarily, for a little bit, the oyster tries to do something to get the sand out, to get rid of the sand, until it realizes it can't. And then it starts using the friction created by the sand to turn it into what? A pearl. And that's why he says, get busy purling. So in the same way on the previous slide, that any issue or problem we're inviting in not as a problem, but as a question that we're inviting the answer. We invite the sand that sometimes gets inside of our shell, that sometimes gets inside of our consciousness, sometimes gets inside of us, that sand, the friction points, those things that bug us, the times and places where we get pissed off, issues and challenges, and we fight against them rather than start to pearl, rather than start to create a solution, a beautiful solution out of the issue or problem at hand, creating an answer, revealing an answer, knowing that the God within me, the mind of God, knows what to do, knows what the solution is if I simply stop focusing so much on the problem, but rather start using the problem to create something beautiful, a challenge that you have in your life right now. I know I keep coming back to that, but you know, it's real right now. We're going through some stuff. A lot of us on a lot of different levels. So how can we get busy pearling? Whatever the things are that we might be facing right now, can we use those? Stop moving, stop resisting. And we're going to look more on this on Friday too. Stop resisting so much and start welcoming the challenge as a gift for some answer to be revealed so that you can be more of yourself and never less. You can be more expressed, more in joy for having walked through that challenge. And lo and behold, what do you have in your hand at the end of the process? A beautiful pearl. Sometimes it's not fun to walk through it, but we have faith that we live in a spiritual universe that is for us and not against us. A prayer to support this idea. I refuse to worry about anything. I have complete confidence that the God who is always with me is able to direct everything I do, to control my affairs, to lead me into the pathway of peace and happiness. I free myself from every sense of condemnation, either against myself or others. I lose every sense of animosity. I now understand that there is a principle and a presence in every person, gradually drawing him, her, into the kingdom of good. I know that the kingdom of God is at hand, and I am resolved to enter into this kingdom, to possess it, and to let it possess me. Isn't that beautiful prayer? They're all throughout the book. Ernest Holmes just dove in and just wooed and wed the spirit, as he calls it. I love it. Okay, final slide. And this is actually from page 1 of the book. I keep coming back to this first paragraph all the time because it's so powerful. You, this is the very first paragraph of the book. You, like all others, are seeking the joy of living. You wish to be needed, loved, and included in the great drama of life. This urge is in every individual. It is in everything. The rose exists to express beauty. Root and branch conspire with nature to give birth to blossom. An artist will starve in her garret that she may chisel an angelic form from a slab of marble, compelling the unyielding substance to accept his breath of creation. Everything in nature, and you're part of that, is endowed with this creative urge. What will you create today? That's the question. What will you create today? Anybody have any questions or comments, ideas, insights, anything to share? We're all good?
You have Giovanni. There's a message in your chat.
Okay.
Can you see that?
I cannot.
It says, yes, doubt is the poison of spirit.
Giovanni. I'm sorry, go ahead.
She says, yes, doubt is the poison of spirit. When I stand in the allness of God and the flow of source in me, through me, as me, everything unlike it
Yes.
cannot be real, and therefore I do not need to make it so.
Yes, Giovanni. That's it. We just read your comment. For some reason, I can't see them here. So Jeff Harrison and the Swing Point Media producers booth, just let me know. When we're in right relationship, all that other stuff begins to fall away. Again, it comes back to paradigm. What lens are we looking through? how are we in relationship with life? Are we in what's called right relationship, where we're understanding how spiritual principle work and we're in the flow? Or are we out of integrity with the laws, the natural and spiritual laws of life? So love has more power than fear. Doubt is a silent killer. We want to tend to our garden. Doubt's a weed that's in there. If we want those tomatoes and those cantaloupes and whatever else we're growing to grow beautiful and lush, we got to get in there and weed. We got to get in there and nurture and take care of it. And that's part of it, is removing those seeds of doubt. Anything else, gang? Barbara.
Yes, this is absolutely fantastic information, and it really resonates with me during this time. I think if only we could broadcast this on a mega scale.
We're working on it.
Yeah, to people who are suffering and confused and everything, because it's every single one of these PowerPoint concepts is so crucial to today, what we're going through, and able to turn inward and really trust our intuition and our own calling, right?
Yep, that's it.
So thank you. This is so powerful. Thank you so much for doing this.
You're welcome, Barbara. Thank you for the comment. And that's it. That's, that creative urge. We just want to keep moving in the direction of ourselves.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, it is. It is. Practice. Thank you, Barbara. Anybody else?
Heather O'Day from Tucson.
Reverend Charles.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heather from Tucson. God bless you. Yes. Who's this?
Yeah, it's Marianne.
Hi.
Hi. I agree with Barbara. This is so amazing and powerful. And what comes up to me is really being in touch and having the God self be really recognized.
Yeah.
And you said there was something about building something around you, and it's not like a fence, but I see it as like white light.
Yep.
of protection. But then I feel like the white light, whoever comes in contact, would be healed in some way. And I tend to be absorbing. There's this huge magnified emotional fear and everything. Every emotion seems to be amped up. Mm-hmm. And conspiracy and anger and I had this revelation that I'm letting that in instead of just saying, God is bring it to a big God, bring God to the big problem, right? I love that. It's just yeah. And so anyway, so this is so perfect that it's not saying we need to protect ourselves. It's saying that we really need to just be in our God self and know that this shall pass. Anyway, I'm just talking to myself as rambling on.
You're talking to all of us, Marianne. That's and many people use that imagery of a spirit or bubble. It's like a spiritual filtration system. What I will only allow to permeate my field with that which is life-giving and beautiful and good. And we get to choose that depending on which sources for information we go to, et cetera, et cetera. And then all that comes out of that filtration system is love and generosity and joy and good. So it's beautiful imagery. It's a great practice to help us. Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you.
Jeff Harrison.
We have Dawn from the website. She says, can you speak to the no in EH prayers? Refuse ? The teens say the universe knows no.
The teens. So this is Dawn.
Yes.
Is asking, can I explain the no's? It's a denial. I mean, it's the fundamental, the no's in Ernest Holmes' prayers. And she says the teens say no. We all have there are no no's, which I love. I love the teens. I grew up with teens. I just talk about the filters so much. There's just an expression of love with our teens. So the idea of no is a denial, that if there is a place in consciousness where it's an idea from Emma Curtis Hopkins, is affirmations and denials, actually, from way back when. So it's the idea of that. It's another tool is all I would say there, Don. That when he uses the word no, I can't presume because I didn't know the man to be here to ask him, but I would just offer that it's another tool that's used as a denial if somehow we need to use it. You know, like there is no daddy, there's a monster under the bed. No, babe, there's no monster under the bed. Look. And then we go look and there's no monster under the bed. So it's just another tool to use to get us again into right relationship with life. I hope that's helpful. And if no isn't a word that works for you, that you want to stay in the affirmative, by all means do that. But again, whatever we can do to keep ourselves clean and alive and well. Let's see. Do we have a challenge to create some? I love the expression. Use this challenge, Holly says, to create something beautiful. Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful. Good. Anybody else? Questions or comments? Like
David Flint, I'll put it in your chat.
Okay, David Flint's got a. Somehow we're just working behind the scenes here. I hope somehow this has been a benefit to you, to all of you in some way. I know I appreciate your comments and see that it has been, and that's wonderful. I keep practicing this. I encourage you to go to the website and download the slides so that you can have that information. And you know, sometimes what I used to do, I don't do it so much, is put these prayers up around the house. You know, put them in conspicuous places. When you go to the bathroom, oh, you're reminded of this idea again because it's on the mirror. You go to the kitchen to make breakfast or dinner or whatever it might be. Oh, there it is on a cabinet again. And you're reminded again. You know, it's a tool to keep us lined up, a tool to keep us inspired. Because again, folks, challenges will come. The hard times are there. Joyful times are there too. You know, we just bring it all into that wonderful, the life soup. Let's see. I'm still not seeing anything from David. David.
That says, thank
Jeff's going to read it to me.
Thank you, Charles, for genuinely unique and refreshing expression of Holmes and Butterworth.
Yeah, you're welcome, David. Thanks for the love.
And then the Grateful Humanoid says this has been incredibly beneficial. Thank you so much.
Thankful, grateful humanoid. Grateful human, however you are. I love that handle.
Yeah. Adair, this has been wonderful. More, please.
More, please. Yeah, we're going to do more on Friday morning is the next installment of this. Again, it's going to be the same basic format, but we're going to look at the idea of what we're resisting right now and where perseverance is required right now. So we're going to look at, I'm still formulating how exactly we're going to go down that rabbit hole, but it's going to be basically the same format of using, you know, information out of this thing called You to support us in ideas in how we can continue to grow and become better, even more beautiful. Better isn't a bad thing, right? It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with now. It just means better, right? It's just becoming more beautiful. Who's interested in becoming more beautiful? Raise your hand. Woohoo! All right. Anything else? Reverend Ruth Ann, so good to hear you. A beautiful presentation combining both these amazing people. Thank you, Ruth Ann. I miss your face. Miss all of your faces. I can't wait till we're back together again, right? Isn't that going to be great? Let's see. Okay. I think we're good to go. I will remind you and encourage you to contribute financially to the center to continue to empower us in what we're doing here. There's a donate button in your chat, and also on the website, you can find it to continue to support our center and what we're up to here in this virtual time, knowing that we will be back together sometime soon. And we want our center to be lifted and raised and praised in all the wonderful ways that it already is and will continue to be, that we're ever growing. We know that right now. God bless you all. Have a beautiful week. Don't forget tomorrow, very special. I'm going to be interviewing Dr. Joe and Trey. And we're going to be, I'm still working on my questions. We're going to be digging in. I'm going to put the Science of Mind textbook in front of them and make them put both their hands on it and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So this is going to be a lot of fun tomorrow. We might need a couple sessions of that. And then Wednesday is the Sensational Six. I'll actually be joining them for that. The ministerial students who took their exam yesterday. I've heard from 2 that passed already. Haven't heard from the other 4, but I trust I will at some point today. Our ministerial students. So we'll, I'm sure, get more information then. Thursday is Dr. Joe and I, and then Friday's our second installment of this thing called You. So much love, everybody. Have a beautiful week, and we will be back together tomorrow. Much love, and we're out of here.